Well, hi Hoodoo loves, it's Miss AB again. Okay, so it's been a little while since I've had a chance to make a video. I want to keep this one short if I can because I tend to ramble, but a lot of you have asked me about grave dirt. Some of you will see that I used grave dirt in at least a couple of my other videos here, especially the sweet jar working, and people will ask me, what is grave dirt? How do you collect it? How do we do this? So what I wanted to just put in here today is a quick little video about what grave dirt is and how to work with it. So thing number one, it's very important to understand before beginning that grave dirt is conjure work. It is working with spirits. Now you will see this on the internet. People will just say, oh, it's just adding the characteristics of the spirit that you're working with, and it's not really a big deal, and you just kind of add it. No, just not correct, wrong. Grave dirt is specifically hiring a spirit to do work for you on your behalf in the work that you are doing. It's asking to use their power, their abilities, their traits, and their access in the spiritual world. That is what grave dirt is all about. So this is conjure work. It's not just straight up hoodoo. It is conjure. If you don't like working with spirits, don't work with grave dirt. So that's just the first thing I'm going to say there. Now, the next thing is that there is a very particular way that you need to collect grave dirt, and that is why I actually have here a plate of interesting little items. A lot of people on the internet, again, will say, oh, you know, when you want to collect grave dirt, what you do is you go into a graveyard and you get a shovel and you dig up a little dirt and you walk home and you use it in your work and it's great. No, also wrong. Grave dirt is it's actually kind of an intimate connection between you and the spirit, because you're putting that spirit's essence into your work, and it affects them, by the way. It's not just them, you know, they add their traits and walk away. It actually affects them on a I guess it's not a physical level, but for them it would be the same type of thing. So they have a very real world effect in their reality for working with us. So when you go to collect grave dirt, the way that I was taught to do it, and there are other traditions that are also correct, but this is how I was taught to do it, so, you know, that's what I can pass along. What I like to do is go into the graveyard, keep in my mind the idea of what it is that I'm wanting to obtain. And I just see where I'm led intuitively. Now, different people have different psychic giftings, and some of us are going to be more inclined to actually speak to spirits. Others of us are going to be more inclined to use a pendulum or cards. Others are just going to go by feel. All of those ways are perfectly valid. It is definitely an intuitive thing, and it varies from person to person. But I like to hold in my mind my goal. So if I'm doing a love work, then I will hold kind of in my head. It's like, okay, I'm doing a love work and I need somebody who can help me reunite John and Susie. Who can help me reunite John and Susie? I just kind of broadcast that call, and I see where I'm led. I kind of see where my feet take me, what I'm pulled towards, if anyone pops up to speak to me. And then I will go to that grave and kind of look and see who it is. And the way to connect with the spirit, again, that I was taught, is you go to the foot of the grave, not the head, but the foot. You don't stand on the grave and you don't stand on the gravestone. Both of those things are considered rude. But you go to the foot of the grave and you say, John Smith, I feel like you can help me with the work that I am doing. I would like to talk to you about it. Please come and speak to me, John Smith. And in that case, you make a small offering. I like to carry multiple different offerings with me, both to give the spirit an option of what they want, but also to kind of give them something small to show that I'm in good faith, you know. And you can give like a penny, a piece of candy, you know, one of your offerings there. And then I usually wait just a minute to feel, you know, see if the spirit starts speaking to me, see if there's any changes around me, kind of what I intuitively feel. And usually, unless I get a negative response of some kind, then I will continue on and I will explain, say, you know, I have a situation with Susie and she really wants her lover back, and I just feel like you could help me because of, you know, XYZ that I sense about you. Would you be willing to help me reunite this couple, please? And then I kind of wait again and I see, do I get any communication from the spirit directly? Do I get any good or negative signs for a yes or a no? This is a place where pendulum comes in handy a lot. You can literally hold it over the grave and ask it to let the spirit show you yes or no if it's willing to talk to you or not. And then if you get something that is a positive sign, at that point you will make an offering. And you can ask, and it's a good thing to ask, it's polite, what the spirit would prefer. So on this plate I actually have a couple different things. I can turn it just a little bit so you can kind of see as it's rotating all the different stuff that I've got here. First and foremost, I like to bring hot coffee with me. You would actually be amazed how many spirits absolutely love hot coffee. I will typically bring a little thermos and a paper cup with hot coffee with me. And it seems like it really is very well received by many different types of spirits. This right here is actually homemade fudge. And I will often use that in spirit workings because that's something from my own table, from my own kitchen. It's got my love and my energy put into it. So it's really me putting myself out and offering something of myself, and just in a very hospitable way. A lot of spirits really appreciate that. Over here I've got jelly beans. Hard candy also often is well received. And then we've got some pennies right here. Pennies or dimes, both are considered traditional offerings. And then of course I have a little bottle right here of perfume. And that is very often well received, especially by female spirits and especially by spirits that you are contracting with to do love work for you. Now, other potential offerings could include, but are certainly not limited to, cosmetics, liquor, tobacco products, hair ties, small pieces of jewelry, and small toys. So it very much depends on what you get an intuitive sense about that the spirit would appreciate. And also, the number one choice for an offering is always going to be something that you know for a fact the person liked during life, if you happen to have known the person for some reason. So that's going to be the number one choice. So once you have made that offering, then and only then, you go ahead and you collect some dirt from the head of usually where the gravestone is, depending on the tradition. That some places put the gravestone at the foot, but I usually like to connect with where the gravestone is, and that is usually been the head. And you just collect that dirt. I like to sift it so I don't take any plants or any other things home with me by accident. And I just put that in a container and I take that home with me, and I use, this is again very important, I use that dirt only for the purpose for which the spirit was hired, which means if I contract for a love working on Susie and I have a little left over, then I can throw that dirt out and just release it, or I can take it back to the grave, but I do not get to use it in a different love work. So that's the basics of how to collect grave dirt. And like I said, I wanted to keep this video short, so I'm just gonna hurry through a couple of different types of grave dirt that you might find beneficial. One that does seem to be really helpful in love work is graves of young children, specifically children under the age of 2. They bring a very loving, sweet, innocent, trusting energy. They help with repairing broken relationships. They're also very good with helping in relationships where you want there to be a commitment that leads to marriage and family. Another type of grave dirt that I like to work with a lot is the graves of soldiers and or police officers. These are absolutely excellent. They're very helpful spirits, almost always, first of all. Actually, the older the grave, often the more helpful and powerful the spirit. So they are very protective. They're very willing to assist in any type of work where you need protection, either from spirits, something in the practical world, or sometimes they're even really helpful when you're doing like a love or prosperity magic and somebody has just been crossing you up and you need them to protect your work from anything that would get in the way, and just kind of make a circle around it and keep out any interference. One more that I really like working with, and this is not strictly speaking the same thing, it's a little different. Most graveyards have a guardian spirit, and if you go to either the west gate, if there is one, or to the main gate of the building, or the grave area, and you request in the same manner to speak to that spirit and make offerings to that spirit, that brings a really deep mystical energy. It's excellent for works that have to do with psychic power. It's excellent for works that have to do with dreams. And it is also really good for intranquil spirit work, or for when you want to bury someone and get rid of them. You can contact the guardian of the graveyard and say, I want to bury this person and get them out of my life in your graveyard. Can you bind them here and make sure that they do not leave? And a lot of times that spirit will be willing to help you with that. Now, graveyard guardians come in all shapes and sizes. They're very diverse. So what they're going to like and how you're going to interact with them is going to vary situation. One final thing that I did want to mention, because I do think it is valuable to have the information, but I also want to raise a cautionary flag about it because I see it cycling around on the internet and it is actually kind of dangerous. I have right now in my possession dirt from the grave of a convicted serial killer that was executed by the state of Texas. I obtained this after making proper offerings and contracting with the spirit for a particular variety of work and a particular number of works. That energy from someone who has committed murder and been executed for it is extraordinarily wonderful for getting rid of people that you want gone. However, those spirits tend to be very enthusiastic about causing harm, and they will go overboard if what you're looking for is something very mild. So, for example, I did a working recently where there was a very severe abuse situation, and there was a person that just needed to be gotten rid of, period. And oh my God, that was some potent stuff. Which is the reason that I collected it and the reason that I used it. But this is not, I mean, even though this kind of dirt, it's very, very effective, I would just issue a strong caution because it seems to be like lauded on a lot of blogs and say, oh, this is the best kind for doing whatever. No, this is not the kind of dirt to use on your ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend that you don't like. And it's not the kind of thing to use on that weird guy at the office that you want to get fired. That's not what it's for. Dirt from the grave of a convicted murderer who has been executed for murder is very likely to result in extreme physical harm or death. And I don't pass moral judgment on very many things, but I do believe that we do have a responsibility to have an appropriate level of response. So there are many other things that are more effective and less complicated for certain types of situations. But I also wanted to put this information in this video so that if you are in a dire situation or someone you're working with or on is in a dire situation, you know about that as an option as well. So those are my thoughts on grave dirt and how to collect it, what to do with it. Any other thoughts, comments, ideas, traditions? I would love to hear them. Stick them down in the comments. And I am still working on my website. Hopefully that is going live on Halloween of 2016. And it may be a kind of a bare bones version of it because I want to get the content really correct and rich and beautiful for you guys, but it looks like it's going to be at least a bare minimum is going to be going up on Halloween. And in the meantime, if you want to see more of my work, I have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/hoodoodelish, and you can also email me at hoodoodelish@gmail.com. But I love each and every one of you. Go ahead and send me thoughts, comments, and anything else that you want to say. I love reading you guys' replies, and I wish you all a wonderful and blessed evening. Bye-bye.